I want my pound of flesh. The only mistake I made was loving you more than I loved myself. Now, these words were held closely to the heart of a Nigerian socialite whose only crime was giving her heart out to someone she loved.
Out of the car and I think we know did it. I had to drive. Really beats me up that guy.
How did this story of love turn into something so sad? The life of this well-to-do Nigerian business lady Bimbo was all rosy and glittery from the outside, but like the popular saying goes, all that glitters isn't gold. This horrific truth hid in its closet until it broke the doors 3 years ago after the details of this union began leaking out. Now a little backtrack on how it all started. According to sources, Bimbo had met Ikechukwu Ogbonna aka IVD a few years ago. They started dating. She struggled with him even when he had nothing. It was said that they struggled from Badagry in Lagos until things began going well before they moved to the Lagos Island. In 2019, after being married for some time, the truth of what really goes on behind closed doors began leaking out. At the time, IVD's brother had come to live with a couple in their house. Bimbo and her brother-in-law were said to have had an altercation and a disagreement. Now, as the husband, instead of IVD to come and settle the case, he came and was allegedly siding his brother. Now, this blew out of proportion when he slapped his wife and then she retaliated by trying to fight back. It was said that he beat up his wife, who was 8 months pregnant as at the time, until she collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital. She was in coma and that the child needed to be brought out by cesarean section. During the time of beating his wife, his own brother stood aside, didn't try to stop him, but watch as his brother beat his wife till she was said to be in a coma. One would think that leaving his wife close to death would change the way he approaches marriage, but this was just the beginning. This was a huge blow in the face of her family members who had warned her on what he might turn out to be, but she didn't listen. Sources said that at one point before they got married, Bimbo's mom had taken her to go take out a baby after she was battered and then warned her not to get married to the guy. But she didn't listen. Stubbornly, she took in 2 months later. You see, as at 2022, Bimbo had known IVD for 19 years. For her, it was enduring all for love's sake. But the over a decade of knowing each other didn't solidify their relationship. It rather brought out their demons. In 2020, IVD struck again. This time, it was him pointing a loaded gun at his wife in the presence of his 2 kids and threatening that he was going to shoot her, whilst boasting that nothing was going to happen to him afterwards. It was said that IVD was manipulative and controlling, turning her into a housewife and controlling everything that she does, while on the other side, he was living his best life, allegedly meeting up with different girls and then squandering money on even people he met on an Insta. At the point when she confronted him, he would accuse her of being mentally ill. She was probably tired and losing her mind from all that he was doing to her, and all she needed was to break free. At one point, she confronted him at his office, saying that she needed her own pound of flesh and that she was going to report him to the EFCC and the police concerning all the crimes that he was doing.
Put your hands down. I have been patient. I do not care. I have been patient. It is money that you and your baby mama would eat. Because you're not feeding me. I do my business. And then I feed myself and my children. So when would you give us that money? Put your hands on me now. Aren't you violent? I would not leave. So you give me my pound of flesh. I would leave. So you give me my pound of flesh. I will not leave. I will report you to EFCC.
This led to him chasing her out with their 2 kids at one night in 2020. This she said she was going to come back to, even though he apologized to her, taking her to club. 2 years down the line, on October 12, 2022, sources said, of course their neighbors, revealed that at the early hours of the morning, they heard shouts of help from Bimbo as her husband pounced on her, beating her in their compound. Now, at the time when he left her to go do whatever he wanted to do, she spilled fuel around the house and lit it on fire. The mistake she made was she didn't know how fuel reacts, and then it caught up on her body and burnt her so bad that she had to jump in into the pool to save herself.
Is that Bimbo's skin? Lord of Jesus. This girl is crazy. She's crazy. She has burnt herself for finish.
She was rescued and was rushed to the hospital. After being taken to 10 hospitals, she was rejected, and her husband pushed her out of the car. Luckily, she was rescued by a good Samaritan who took her to the hospital where she's receiving treatment at the moment. Her kids luckily escaped. They probably had gotten used to the fact that when daddy and mommy fights, we go and hide. At the moment, Bimbo needs your prayers as she's burnt beyond recognition. People should learn that marriage is not do or die. The moment he or she can raise their hands against you, you should leave. If she actually gets out of the hospital, she might come for blood. If she does not, her family will come for blood. This is typical case of Ifeoluwa and Bamidele in July 2022.